On Good Morning Football, presented by Truist. Yeah, we're back. You're back. Nate Burleson's back from New Orleans, of course. The Saints advancing to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've got Peter Schrager, Kyle Grant, and myself. So much to get to. So let's show you that divisional round schedule. It's time for Lead Block.
Lead Block.
Remember we used to call it the throwdown round because the divisional round sounds too official? Here's the throwdown round. Let's fix this full screen for tomorrow. I just don't like the name of that. Okay, Rams, Packers, Ravens, Bills. Saturday, the Browns take on the Chiefs. And yes, like I said at the top here, Buccaneers taking on the Saints in New Orleans on Sunday night. Let's start with that first game. Aaron Rodgers joined our program here at the top of the show. So let's talk Rams. Packers. We broke down the matchup between Davante Adams and Jalen Ramsey yesterday and really today with Nate back. Let's talk Aaron Rodgers, likely the MVP. He's got to deal with the entire Rams defense, which I brought up yesterday. It's going to be no picnic for the MVP quarterback. Here's how he sized up the Rams D just yesterday.
They're very well coached. They got a good scheme. They place some umbrella on the back end, keep a lot of things in front of them. They're very good tacklers, a lot of vision to the football. Really good pass rush, obviously generational talent in Aaron Donald inside, but a lot of really good players as well on that front in the second and third level too. Most of the real impact players when it comes to pass rush are edge rushers. A little different with 99. He's a special player. Obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, impact player every single year. A guy that you have to game plan for. You have to be aware of where he's at all times. And just one of those special talents that we haven't seen a whole lot of in this game, in the history of the game.
He's been fuego all year. Check out his numbers to close out the regular season. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, no question, the MVP in my opinion. Not official yet. We'll find out the night before the Super Bowl at NFL Honors. Will Rodgers keep his hot streak alive against the Rams' #1 defense? Kyle, starting with you again. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Throwdown round, as we call it.
Yep.
Rodgers does this every week. He's asked about the other team's best players on defense, and he hypes them and says how great they are, and it's what he does. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. A generational guy. I've never seen him hype like that. I mean, that's unbelievable. He talks that way about his own teammates, Charles Woodson, Davante Adams. That was something. I think that first ballot Hall of Famer and Jalen Ramsey are going to have to play the best games of their careers to win this game. All the games in this round, I look at this one as a problem. And it has to do with two quarterbacks from Cal Berkeley. We've talked a lot of weather this week. A lot of weather today. It's going to be sub-freezing in Green Bay. We know that. Take a look at these two side-by-sides, if you will. Here's Aaron Rodgers in below-freezing games in the last 5 years. 10-0, 26 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Okay.
Now, Rams fans, buckle up. Here's Jared Goff under the same conditions. He's 1-1. He has not thrown a touchdown. He's thrown 5 interceptions, 34.5 rating. Does Jared Goff have it in him to go into Lambeau Field and beat the MVP and outplay him and throw his first touchdown ever in sub-freezing temperatures? I think only if 99 and Jalen Ramsey are the best players in the building that day. I think the defense has to kill him. Otherwise, Rodgers too good.
Yeah, with the thumb he banged up a couple of weeks ago. The fact that Aaron Rodgers said that Aaron Donald is a Hall of Famer.
That moved you, huh?
No doubt.
First ballot.
First ballot.
That surprises
Hall of Famer. It surprises me because Aaron Donald is so young in his career and he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. Of course, he's the most dominant player in the business, but I come from an era, and we're all familiar with this era of football where it took time before you start throwing the Hall of Fame words around. Like, you have to wait till the guy's like the end of his career.
It's not like it's Larry Fitzgerald.
Right. You have to wait to the very end, or even like a few years after retirement. I'm not surprised that he said it. I think we all agree. I remember sitting in the studio and on CBS, on the CBS set, and Bill Cowher, just out of nowhere, says, Aaron Donald's a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm like, Coach, you've been around so many You're saying that right now? His career's not even over. He's still in the budding stages. He's like, I don't care if he's just scratching the surface. I know what he is. I know what he does. And I know how hard he is to stop. He's a Hall of Famer. Now, with all that said, I just had to address that because it's unbelievable. We know that Aaron Rodgers first ballot.
Rodgers is also a cherisher of NFL history. So when he says it so casually and says from the interior, he's doing things that no one has ever done. And that's with Warren Sapp and Cortez Kennedy and all the great defensive tackles. Aaron Donald does something that no one in the history of the sport has ever done.
Yeah, we oftentimes talk about game changers at the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill, and look at how athletic that Lamar Jackson is at the quarterback position. The fact that Aaron Donald is doing what he's doing from the interior, he is forever changing the game. So that big bulldozing guy that is growing up playing football, and the coaches look at him saying, he's a linebacker. He's a little undersized, with 6 foot, 6'1". No, that dude can be like, nah, I'm going to add a little muscle, put on some weight, and I'm going to do what Aaron Donald did and destroy linemen that can not keep up with me with the slow feet and slow hands.
Just for context, because I wasn't surprised to hear him say it, like when you were playing against Urlacher, Brett Favre, those words weren't used for them during their career still?
Nah, when I came up, you had to play a whole season before somebody said you were a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
You had to play out your contract before you got the big deal. You had to play your career out before they said you were a Hall of Famer. Look what Calvin Johnson's doing. First ballot.
That's very sacred.
It's different.
Yeah.
But with all that said, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to get to cooking, man. I mean, you put it perfectly when you showed the difference between Aaron Rodgers in cold weather and Jared Goff in cold weather. I played against Aaron Rodgers in cold weather. I know what it's like. The reason he's so good is because he got ice in his veins. Like, that's how he plays. And he has a guy that also has ice in his veins, Davante Adams. And I feel like Davante Adams is going to have a good day. It's not going to be that one-on-one matchup where he's just destroying Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's going to win some. Davante's going to win some. That's what two epic players do. But I just feel like they're going to win more plays than they're stopped. In that combination, Aaron Rodgers to Davante, if they're cooking or playing consistently for 4 quarters, they're tough to beat.
I don't want to overthink it because it's easy to overthink it and go too. Kyle, you said if Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are the best players on the field, they can win this game. Going into this game, you can say that Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are the best players on the field, even with Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. That's how good they are at their respective positions.
Sure. Pound for pound.
So if that's the case, fine. I see them playing a huge role. I don't know how Jared Goff with 9 fingers or John Wolford with a cracked neck is going to beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau. I just don't see it. So I don't see this being Aaron Rodgers putting on a show and the hot streak continuing. I think the Rams defense does a really good job. I think that Brandon Staley has faced Aaron Rodgers 5 times already in his career. He's with the Bears for 2 years, so he faced him 4 times there. He's with the Broncos last year, faced him there. The Fangio defense is not a walk in the park for Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
And Jalen Ramsey is going to match up with Davante Adams at least some of the time, and no receiver in the game. DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, Stephon, no one has had that day. The 11 catches, 160 yards with Jalen Ramsey in the vicinity of them. I think the game breaker in this thing, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, and how LaFleur is able to use the run game. I don't think Aaron Rodgers goes nuts on this Rams defense.
Okay.
No one will. But I saw this same kind of situation here where it was like, here come the Titans. The Titans are this great, worthy offense. And it was like, we're going to ride A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, and we're just going to grind this out, and we're going to beat you that way. Because you can't prepare for that.
Yeah.
I think the Packers have a serious advantage here, especially with Goff and the thumb injury. I just don't know how the Rams can muster enough points. They're going to need defense and special teams to score to compete. But I don't see Rodgers going nuts. No way. Not against this defense. Not against the way Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey are playing.
Go ahead. I feel like we're not mentioning Bakhtiari either in this conversation. I know he doesn't match up on Donald, but if there's double teams, triple teams, then that's going to be an issue. Leonard Floyd has to get involved. I mentioned this yesterday. He went scorched earth, Aaron Rodgers did, right, on the NFL. All season long, he is our MVP, but there was that game I brought up on our show yesterday when Mike Robb was here against Tampa. It was one of the worst games of his career, if we're being honest, what happened there. He got pressured, he got hit 13 times, sacked another 4. That pressure resulted, guys, in what? 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, a rarity. We never see that from Aaron Rodgers. No touchdowns. So if you do have Aaron Donald and you have Leonard Floyd and company, the Rams have the ability to generate this same kind of game-wrecking pass rush that we saw Tampa Bay put on Aaron Rodgers when he looked less than human. He looked bad. And if they can do that, and we're all agreeing that they can, there is going to be trouble here, and they are going to have to rely on that run game. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I just feel like this offense for the Green Bay Packers is so different. I remember a couple of weeks ago, we were coming off Week 17, and the Seahawks, they played well. They did what they needed to do, but they started so slow. I remember looking in the camera, I said, if they start slow versus the Rams, they're going to lose this game. But I had a fear. We all felt it. Seattle they find a rhythm late in the game. Their second half squad, and it bit them in the playoff run. But the Packers aren't that. They strike so fast, and they strike early.
Do you think they're different? Like, we've seen a million great Rodgers offenses. We've seen Jordy, we've seen Cobb for years. Do you think this one is special?
You know why they're different? Because